And so let's load up the demo scenes. In our SFB demo scenes, if you have other stuff, they'll all the demo scenes will be listed in this folder here. So there's one demo scene for each group of objects, just to keep the Unity from having to load up a bunch of the substance files at once, because these substances are large. They're not meant for runtime, they're meant for texture customization. So it's probably best just to keep them separate. So this is the demo scenes. They all look basically like this. They've got a bunch of objects here, and these are customizable objects. They are the prefabs found in these folders here for the customizable. You've got the prefab, the material, and sometimes this position map. And what we've got here is this, we've got two things that you can customize. You can customize the mesh. So that's using the blend shapes, and if it's not already attached, you'll need to attach this SFB blend shape script and click the reload blend shapes. We do try to turn on off the wireframe. It makes it easier to edit. If that doesn't work, you can just click this a couple times, maybe that would help, or unselect and reselect the object, and that sometimes makes the wireframe disappear. So expand this caret here, and you've got these options. So I'm just going to go through. You can make the handle much taller if you'd like, make it more of a poleaxe. The pommel size at the bottom there, and length and width, spike length at the top, and you can go, of course, any value in the middle. The blade spikes. So at the very bottom, this actually makes the blades much less spiky, and then at this one, and then you can make the blades much more spiky. The thickness of the blade, this is on this direction, so you can make the blade thicker or thinner. And we've got the blade angle size, which is really cool for this one. It can actually change the look of the axe completely. And the blade width by bringing that part out. Now, you do notice that there's some stretching going on in the textures. The blend shape stretches the mesh, so if you go to the extremes, you're going to get this type of stretching. Often we make the extremes to be really quite extreme, and the point is, let me reset the values here, the point is to allow you to change it to what works for you, but in general, I'm guessing most of the time the extreme values are not the values you're gonna be using. You know, bringing this out just a little bit changes the shape without actually stretching the texture so much that it actually is noticeable, especially from a decent distance away. So there's a lot you can do with that. And once you're ready to, there's a couple ways of saving this. You could save this as a prefab. You could save this mesh right now as a prefab. All the blend shapes are actually inside this FBX file right here. These are the actual raw values. My script just makes it prettier. You could do that. You could also export the values as a preset file. So I could save this as ax001, whoops, alt 1, and I could just click export. And now I'm going to find this blend shape presets files, and this is just a text file, just numbers, and it works only for this specific blend shape setup. So if you have like a bunch of blend shapes on and one parent object, the preset files would only work for that. But I can drag that in here, right into this field, and it'll load up here. You can remove it if you want. Now if I reset my values down to the default, I can just load this preset and it'll snap back to the preset I had, which is a great way of saving a very low, it doesn't take up any disk space really, just a text file. But you can save a lot of different versions, and if I wanted to, actually it's keeping the numbers for me, so I can actually, I should have just named it just alt, and then export the preset. There you go, alt 0, and then if I wanted to, I can make, just change this around even more, and then I could say export as that. It'll number them, alt 0, alt 1, so let me delete that. So now we got alt 0, alt 1, and you can just load them all. You can actually code this at runtime as well. If you load up the blend shape script here, you can actually dig through the actual code of mine. All of this is something you can do at runtime, and I believe, did I list it here? Yeah, set selected shape. Oh, that's for scripting individual files, and for loading preset files, just call the function sfb_bs import preset with the preset ID, that's 01, right here, to load a preset file. They do have to be loaded here, but there's actually another option. I should have listed it out there. Import preset file. So import preset file will allow you to pass a text asset, which is these blend shape presets, via code, and it'll load it at runtime. So if you want to have a bunch of different shapes pre-saved for your users in game, you can do that using this preset file. It takes literally, next to no disk space, and it's very fast in game. So I do suggest using that. Now, another cool feature of this, let's say you just want to change the height, and you can actually exclude all of these, toggle on the handle height, call this handle height, and we can export this one as a preset, export this one as a preset, and then bring it all the way up, export that. And now we've got 3 different handle heights here. Load those up, and now when if I can just load these presets and you see the changes, but it's only going to change the handle height. So even if I have everything included here, I can bring all these down here. And now when I load these 3 presets, it's only going to adjust the height. The rest are just not going to be adjusted at all. So that's a cool way to... these are the same. Oh, I did the same one. There we go. So that's a cool way to modify just one aspect without changing the rest. So that's a cool little tidbit there. So we can reset the values to default right there. Once you're ready and you want to make a static mesh, a mesh that doesn't have a skin mesh renderer, that is just a static mesh like all the game ready files, you can do that as well. It will no longer allow you to change the shape and size. So if you're going to change it at runtime, you do not want to do this. But if you just want to have a set of static objects, all you have to do is go up. Let me load up a different preset here. We'll load up this one. Go up to the Windows. Make sure your objects are selected. Go up to Window, and also if you want to do more, you might want to just do a duplicate. This is actually going to replace this file. So let's duplicate that right now. SFA Studios, save as meshes. You can have multiple objects assigned at once, so you can do it multiple. It's very quick, and it replaces everything with just a regular mesh renderer. So now we've got a axe that's completely different. Well, not completely different, but different than the first, and it's game ready. It actually saves them in this exported meshes folder. It saves them right here. It'll number them, so this 0 means 0, and it'll add more numbers at the end. Actually need to add an underscore there. Let me do that right now. Alright, so I just fixed it so that the file name will be an underscore number, so it keeps it a little easier to read. That way, you can actually produce more of these. This is the copy I made. I'm just going to copy that again. I'm going to remove that part of the name, and I'm going to load up a different preset. Let's see. I'll load up this one, this tall one, and I'm going to save that. So SFA Studio, save as meshes. I have a second mesh here of the tall one. So you can make as many of these as you want. I like to delete the extra text here because otherwise it will show up on the names here. But you can create as many versions as you want, and some of the objects have a lot more options than others. So it's some insane stuff you can do with that. So let me just delete this, reset back to normal, bring this back up here. So we've got these, and we're just going to delete those. These are all game ready as well now, so you can just bring them in, and they're all game ready. And if I reset this, we can see, there we go. So now we've got 3 different axes. They all use the same texture, of course, and they're all basically ready to use. It's really cool what you can do with this blend shapes. So we'll delete those.